Europe's wealthiest country, is virtually empty. This tiny nation of 640,000 people rarely makes the news. It's not popular with tourists. But if you ever visit, you're in for a shock. The 640,000 citizens are nowhere to be seen. The streets and parks are deserted. Much of the country looks like a real estate museum. It's all very expensive looking and pristine. But outside of business hours, there's no movement. The lights are off in most of the houses. This bizarre fairyland is called the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. It's got the second highest GDP per capita in the world. Only Monaco has bigger salaries. But Monaco is bustling with life, while Luxembourg is empty. What's the secret? First of all, it's the workforce. Luxembourg's workforce is 70% foreign. So most people only come here to work. Luxembourg borders Belgium, France, and Germany. Cross-border employment is very common. These workers are known as transfrontaliers. They work in Luxembourg during the day. Then, they commute back home. It's very easy to see the reason once you look closer. Luxembourg has the highest minimum wage in the EU. It's a whopping €2,508.24 euros a month. To put things in perspective, this comes out to more than $31,000 a year. In the United States, it's $15,080. Remember, this is minimum wage. The average annual income in Luxembourg is €48,220 euros. The average Belgian makes €2,000 less. Germany and France offer even less. So finding employment in Luxembourg is a sweet deal. But why doesn't anyone stay there? That's because the cost of living in Luxembourg is insane. It's one of the most expensive countries in Europe. There are some notable exceptions. Luxembourg subsidizes fuel. It also has very low taxes on cigarettes and alcohol. That's why international bus routes often divert to Luxembourg. They fill up the tanks and move on. What about all that real estate? That's even crazier. A 2,800 square foot apartment with no view costs $5,300,000. That's not a typo. More than $5 million. Of course, it depends on the neighborhood. But generally, property prices in Luxembourg are unaffordable. Yet there are lots and lots of new developments. Who buys them? Foreigners, of course. It's extremely easy to become a homeowner in Luxembourg. You don't need a citizenship or even a residence permit. All you need is a ton of money. So all this empty housing is a form of investment. Luxembourg has a stable and robust economy. The resale value is always going to be high. Luxembourg has around 20,000 empty houses. Many landlords don't want to rent them out. They're waiting for the property to appreciate in value. Of course, Luxembourg City is relatively lively. It has a more or less vibrant nightlife and tourism. But that's only in the center. Try walking through Morel or Belair after 9 p.m. You're in for a lonely experience. Luxembourg does offer excellent job opportunities, but it's virtually impossible to obtain a work visa for non-EU citizens. The climate is also nothing to write home about. Luxembourg doesn't get much sun. Even when it's not raining, it's often overcast. Luxembourg is landlocked, so there's no seaside. Outside of the capital, it's mostly rural. In fact, a third of the country is covered in forest. But don't expect much hiking. Most Luxembourgian forests, like everything else, are privately owned.